The warning lights turned red. The alarm screamed through the small ship. Kang Tae-ho pulled hard on the controls, but nothing worked. His cargo vessel, the Wanderer, was falling fast toward an unknown planet below. Come on, Tae-ho said through his teeth. He pressed every button he knew. The engine was dead. Smoke filled the cockpit. Through the window, he could see the ground coming closer and closer. Green forests, blue lakes, mountains in the distance. It would have been beautiful if he was not about to crash into it. Tae-ho was 28 years old. He had been flying cargo ships for 6 years. He had seen storms in space. He had survived asteroid fields. But he had never lost an engine like this. One moment everything was fine. The next moment, fire and smoke and falling. He grabbed the emergency handle and pulled. The ship shook as the backup thrusters tried to slow the fall. It was not enough to stop the crash, but maybe enough to survive it. The trees came fast. Tae-ho closed his eyes and held on. The impact threw him forward. Metal screamed as the ship tore through the forest. Trees broke like small sticks against the hull. Glass shattered. Something hit his head. Then everything went black. When Tae-ho opened his eyes, he did not know how much time had passed. His head hurt. Blood ran down the side of his face. But he was alive. He was alive. And that was something. He looked around the cockpit. Everything was broken. Wires hung from the ceiling. The control panel was dark. Smoke still rose from somewhere in the back of the ship. He needed to get out before something exploded. Tae-ho unstrapped himself from the pilot seat. His body hurt everywhere, but nothing seemed broken. He grabbed his emergency bag from under the seat. Inside was water, food bars, a medical kit, a knife, and a small light. He also took his jacket and put it on. Then he kicked open the emergency door and stepped outside. The air was warm and wet. It smelled like flowers and rain. The forest around him was like nothing he had ever seen. The trees were tall with silver bark. Their leaves glowed softly in colors of blue and purple. Even the grass under his feet gave off a gentle light. Everything was alive with soft colors. Tae-ho looked up. The sky was orange and pink, like a sunset that never ended. 2 moons hung in the sky, one large and one small. He was far from home. Very far. He walked around his ship to see the damage. The Wanderer was destroyed. The left wing was gone. The engine was nothing but melted metal. The communication antenna was broken in half. He tried his radio anyway, only static. Great, Tae-ho said to himself. Just great. He sat down on a rock and opened his bag. He drank some water and ate half a food bar. He needed to think. He was alone on a planet that was not on any map he knew. His ship was dead. His radio was dead. Nobody knew where he was. The company would notice when he did not arrive at the station. They would send someone to look for him. But space was big. Very big. Finding one small ship on one unknown planet could take months, maybe years, maybe never. Tae-ho looked at the sky again. The light was getting darker. Night was coming. He needed to find shelter. The ship was too damaged to sleep in safely. He needed to find somewhere else. He stood up and looked around. The forest was thick in every direction. But then he saw something. Far away, through the trees, there was light. Not the natural glow of the plants. Something brighter. Something like fire or electricity. Where there was light, there were people. Or at least, something that could make light. Tae-ho did not know if that was good or bad. Maybe they were friendly. Maybe they were dangerous. But staying alone in a strange forest with no food and no shelter was also dangerous. He had to take the chance. He picked up his bag and started walking toward the light. The forest was strange and beautiful. Small creatures ran between the trees. They looked like rabbits but with 6 legs and glowing eyes. Birds flew overhead with wings that sparkled like diamonds. The plants moved when he walked past, like they were watching him. Tae-ho walked for a long time. The light in the distance grew brighter. As he got closer, he could see more. There were buildings, tall structures made of white stone and crystal. They rose above the trees like towers. Lights floated in the air around them, soft and golden. He stopped at the edge of the forest and looked at the city in front of him. It was beautiful, clean and bright and peaceful. The buildings curved in smooth lines. Gardens filled with glowing flowers surrounded them. Roads made of smooth stone connected everything. But that was not what made Taeho stop. It was the people. They were tall, taller than him. Their skin was the color of pale silver, and it seemed to glow faintly in the low light. Their eyes were large and bright, like stars. Their hair flowed long and white, moving softly even without wind. They wore simple clothes in colors of white and blue, and they were all women, every single one of them. Taeho watched from behind a tree. He counted 20, then 30, then more. Women walking on the streets. Women talking in the gardens. Women flying small vehicles through the air. But no men. Not one. He felt his heart beat faster. This was first contact. Real first contact with an alien species. He was just a cargo pilot. He was not trained for this. He did not know what to do, but he could not stay in the forest forever. He needed help. He needed food and water, and a way to fix his radio. These people had technology. They could help him. Taeho took a deep breath. He stepped out from behind the tree and walked toward the city. He only made it 10 steps before someone saw him. A woman with silver skin and bright blue eyes turned and looked directly at him. Her eyes went wide. Her mouth opened. She screamed. More heads turned. More screams. Women ran in all directions. Some ran toward buildings. Others just stood frozen, staring at him with shock and fear. Taeho raised his hands to show he meant no harm. "Wait," he called out. "I need help. My ship crashed. I am not here to hurt anyone." But they did not understand his words. They only saw a strange creature walking out of their forest. A creature with brown skin and dark hair and a deep voice. A creature they had never seen before. Within seconds, he was surrounded. Women in armor appeared from everywhere. They held weapons that glowed with energy. They pointed the weapons at his chest and shouted words he could not understand. Taeho slowly got down on his knees. He put his hands behind his head. He did not fight. He did not run. He just stayed still and hoped they would not kill him. This was not how he imagined first contact would go. The guards pushed Taeho forward through the streets. His hands were bound with something that felt like hard light. It did not hurt, but he could not move his wrists. The women around him kept their weapons pointed at his back. People came out of their homes to watch. They lined the streets and stared at him with wide eyes. Some looked scared, some looked curious. Many covered their mouths with their hands. Children hid behind their mothers and peeked out at him. Taeho heard their whispers. He could not understand the words, but he could hear the fear and wonder in their voices. He was something they had never seen. Something strange and new. He kept his head down and walked where they pushed him. The guards led him to the largest building in the city. It was made of white crystal that shone in the light of the 2 moons. Tall pillars held up a roof that seemed to float. Gardens of glowing flowers surrounded it. This was clearly an important place. Inside, the building was even more beautiful. The floors were smooth like glass. The walls had pictures carved into them showing women in different poses. Scientists, warriors, healers, mothers. But again, no men. Not in any picture. They brought him to a large room with a high ceiling. At the far end sat a woman on a raised chair. She was older than the others, with lines on her face that showed wisdom. Her hair was pure white and very long. Her eyes were golden and sharp. She wore a crown of crystal on her head. The guards pushed Taeho to his knees in front of her. The woman on the chair spoke. Her voice was strong and clear. Taeho did not understand her words, but he knew she was asking questions. Who was he? Where did he come from? Why was he here? He shook his head. I do not understand, he said. I cannot speak your language. The golden-eyed woman frowned. She turned and spoke to someone beside her. A younger woman stepped forward. She was tall and thin with silver skin and eyes the color of green leaves. She held a small device in her hand. The young woman knelt in front of Taeho. She pressed the device against his neck. It felt cold for a moment, then warm. Something buzzed in his ear. Can you understand me now? The young woman asked. Taeho blinked. The words came through clearly. Some kind of translation device. Yes, he said. Yes, I can understand you. The young woman stood and stepped back. He can speak now, High Matriarch. The woman on the chair leaned forward. I am Lyra, High Matriarch of the Velari people. You will tell me who you are and why you have come to our world. Taeho took a deep breath. My name is Kang Taeho. I am a human from a planet called Earth. I was flying a cargo ship through space when my engine failed. I crashed in your forest. I came to your city because I needed help. I mean no harm to anyone. Whispers filled the room. The guards looked at each other. Lyra raised her hand, and everyone went silent. Human, Lyra repeated. We have heard this word before. A long time ago, a human visited our world. She was a diplomat who stayed for only a short time. Then you know humans are peaceful, Taeho said. We explore space. We trade with other species. We do not attack without reason. The human who visited us was female, Lyra said slowly. You are different. Taeho understood now. They had only seen a human woman before. They had never seen a human man. I am male, he explained. Humans have two kinds, male and female. Both are common on my world. The whispers grew louder. Some women looked shocked. Others looked confused. A tall woman in armor stepped forward. Her silver skin had scars on it. Her eyes were hard and cold. This is wrong, the armored woman said. Look at him. He is strange. His voice is too deep. His body is too thick. He has hair on his face. He could be dangerous. Yona, Lyra said calmly. Let us not decide anything too quickly. High Matriarch, we must protect our people, Yona argued. We should send him away, or kill him before he brings others like him. Taeho felt his blood go cold. I told you. I came here by accident. My ship is destroyed. I have no way to contact anyone. I am alone. Yona looked at him with distrust. How do we know he speaks the truth? How? Because killing lost travelers is not who we are, a new voice said. Everyone turned. The young woman with green eyes stepped forward again. She stood straight and spoke clearly. My name is Neva. I am a scientist. I study life from other worlds. This human is the first male creature I have ever seen. He is rare and valuable for study. We should not destroy something we do not understand. Yona frowned. You want to keep him like an animal? I want to learn from him, Neva said. He can teach us about humans, about the galaxy beyond our world. We have been alone for too long. This could be our chance to learn. Lyra was quiet for a long moment. She looked at Taeho with her golden eyes. He could not tell what she was thinking. Finally, she spoke. Neva speaks wisely. We will not kill the human today. He will stay here under guard. Neva will study him and learn what she can. If he proves to be dangerous, then we will decide what to do with him. Yona's face twisted with anger, but she said nothing. She stepped back and crossed her arms. Thank you, Taeho said to Lyra. I promise I will not cause trouble. Lyra did not smile. Do not thank me yet. Human. You are not free. You are a prisoner until I say otherwise. One wrong move, and Yona will get her wish. The guards pulled Taeho to his feet and led him away. As he walked out of the great hall, he looked back. Neva was watching him with curious eyes. Yona was watching him with hateful ones. They took him to a small room with white walls and a simple bed. There was a window, but it had bars on it. The door locked behind him with a soft click. Tae-ho sat on the bed and put his head in his hands. He was alive. That was good. But he was also a prisoner on an alien world where half the people wanted to kill him. That was bad. He thought about home. About Earth. About his small apartment and his cat, and his favorite restaurant on the corner. He thought about his mother, who always worried about him flying in space. She was right to worry, but he could not give up. He had survived the crash. He had survived the first meeting. He would survive whatever came next. Humans were good at surviving. It was what they did best. Outside his window, the two moons rose higher in the sky. The city of silver and crystal glowed softly in the night. It was beautiful and strange and terrifying all at once. Tae-ho lay down on the bed and closed his eyes. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. He needed to rest. His last thought before sleep took him was simple. He was the first human man on this world. Whatever happened next would change everything. He just hoped the change would be good. Neva arrived early the next morning. The sun had just risen, filling the sky with soft orange light. Two guards stood outside Tae-ho's door, but they let her pass without question. Tae-ho was already awake. He sat on his bed, looking out the window at the alien city. When the door opened, he turned to see Neva, standing there with a bag full of tools and devices. "Good morning," she said. Her voice was careful, like she was speaking to a wild animal that might attack. "Good morning," Tae-ho replied. He stayed still to show he was not dangerous. Neva put her bag on a table and started taking things out. Scanners, lights, small machines he did not recognize. "I need to examine you," she said, "to learn about your body and how it works. Is that acceptable?" Tae-ho nodded. "Yes, I understand." For the next few hours, Neva studied him. She scanned his body with different devices. She measured his height and weight. She looked at his skin, his hair, his eyes, his teeth. She asked him to speak so she could record his voice. She asked him to lift heavy things so she could measure his strength. Tae-ho did everything she asked. He answered every question honestly. He wanted her to trust him. "Your bones are denser than ours," Neva said, looking at her scanner. "Your muscles are thicker. Your heart beats slower but pushes more blood. You are built for strength and endurance. Humans evolved on a planet with strong gravity," Tae-ho explained. "We had to be strong to survive." Neva wrote something down. "And this hair on your face? What is its purpose?" Tae-ho touched his chin. He had not shaved in days, so his beard was growing. "It grows naturally on human men when they reach adulthood. It has no real purpose anymore. A long time ago, it maybe kept us warm. Now it is just part of how we look." "Only men have it?" "Yes, women can grow a little, but not like men." Neva seemed very interested in this. She took more notes. "And your voice, why is it so deep?" "It vibrates in a strange way." Tae-ho smiled a little. "Men have deeper voices than women. It comes from something in our throat that is bigger in men. On Earth, many animals use deep sounds to seem strong or to attract mates." Neva's silver cheeks turned slightly purple. Tae-ho guessed that was how Valari blushed. "To attract mates," she repeated. "Interesting." As the day went on, their conversation moved beyond just his body. Neva asked about Earth, about humans, about how they lived. Tae-ho told her about cities with millions of people, about oceans so big you could not see the other side, about mountains covered in snow and deserts covered in sand. He told her about music and art and sports and food. He told her about families, about children, about growing old. Neva listened to everything. Her green eyes were wide with wonder. "You have so much diversity," she said. "Different foods, different clothes, different beliefs, different ways of living. How do you not fight all the time?" Tae-ho laughed, but it was a sad laugh. "We do fight. Humans have fought many wars in our history. We hurt each other for stupid reasons. But we also learned, slowly, over thousands of years. We learned that working together is better than fighting. We still have problems, but we try to be better. That is, honest, Neva said. Most species would hide their bad history. Hiding the truth helps no one. We made mistakes. We learned from them. That is how we grow. Neva was quiet for a moment. Then she asked, "Can you tell me about male and female? On Valara, we only have females. We reproduce without males. Your kind is very different." Tejo thought about how to explain. On Earth, humans need both male and female to make children. The child gets half its traits from the mother and half from the father. This mixing creates variety. Every child is different from their parents, different from their brothers and sisters. Genetic diversity, Neva said, understanding. Each generation is new. Yes, it keeps us adapting, keeps us changing, keeps us strong in different ways. Neva looked troubled. The Valari do not have this. Our children are copies of their mothers, with small changes sometimes, but mostly the same. We have been this way for thousands of years. Is that a problem? Tejo asked. Neva did not answer at first. She looked at her notes, then at him, then at the window. I should not say too much. But, yes, some of us believe it is a problem. Each generation is slightly weaker than the one before, slightly less resistant to disease. We are slowly becoming less. Tejo felt sympathy for her. I am sorry. That must be frightening. It is why some of us wanted to study you, Neva admitted. When we heard a human was here, many hoped you could help us understand genetic diversity. But then they learned you were male, and everything became confused and political, because males are unknown to your people. Unknown and mythical, Neva said. In our oldest stories, there are tales of beings called the other half. Strong and strange creatures who once walked beside us. But those stories are thousands of years old. Most believe they are just legends. Seeing you is like seeing a myth walk out of a book. Tejo did not know what to say to that. He was just a cargo pilot. He fixed engines and delivered supplies. He was not a myth or a legend. He was just a man who crashed on the wrong planet. I am just a person, he said finally. I am not special. On Earth, there are billions of men. I am nothing unusual. Neva shook her head. To us, you are very unusual. Everything about you is new. Your body, your voice, your way of thinking, the stories you tell. I have learned more in one day with you than in years of studying dead samples from other worlds. Tejo smiled. Then I'm glad I crashed here. Neva smiled back. It was small and careful, but it was real. I am glad too. But do not tell anyone I said that. Yona already thinks I am too friendly with you. Yona does not like me. Yona does not like anything new. She is afraid of change. Many Valari are. We have lived the same way for so long that anything different feels like a threat. I understand that feeling, Tejo said. Humans felt the same way when we first met aliens. We were scared. Some wanted to attack. Some wanted to hide. But slowly, we learned that the universe is big and full of different kinds of life. Being afraid of everything is no way to live. Neva nodded slowly. You are wise for a cargo pilot. Tejo laughed. I am not wise. I just crashed on a lot of different planets and had to learn quickly. The guards came then and told Neva her time was up for the day. She gathered her tools and stood by the door. Before she left, she turned back to him. Thank you, Tejo, for talking to me, for being patient. I will come again tomorrow, if you allow it. I have nowhere else to be, Tejo said with a small smile. I look forward to it. Groof. Neva left, and the door locked behind her. Tejo was alone again, but he did not feel as alone as before. For the first time since the crash, he felt something like hope. Maybe he could survive this after all. Days turned into weeks, Neva came to see Teho every morning. They talked for hours about everything: science, history, culture, philosophy. With each conversation, they understood each other a little better. But outside the small room, things were not so peaceful. Word of the human male had spread across all of Valara. Every city knew about him. Every village talked about him. People had strong opinions, and those opinions were tearing the planet apart. Some Valari were curious. They saw Teho as a doorway to the larger universe. For too long, Valara had been alone. They had shut themselves away from the galaxy, afraid of what they might find. Now the galaxy had come to them, and these Valari wanted to embrace it, but others were afraid. They saw Teho as a threat to everything they knew. Their way of life had worked for thousands of years. Why change now? Why let a strange creature from another world change their society? These Valari wanted him gone. Yona led the second group. She spoke in the council meetings. She gave speeches in the streets. She told everyone who would listen that the human was dangerous. "Look at him," Yona would say. "He is built like a weapon. Strong bones, thick muscles, a voice that rumbles like thunder. His kind evolved through violence. They fought wars for thousands of years. They nearly destroyed their own planet. Is this what we want in our home?" Many listened to her. Fear is a powerful thing, and Yona knew how to use it. One evening, Lyra came to visit Teho herself. She entered his room alone, without guards, and sat in the chair where Neva usually sat. Her golden eyes studied him for a long moment. "You are causing trouble," she said finally. "I am just sitting in this room," Teho replied. "I have not done anything. I have not done anything. Your presence is enough. My people are divided because of you. Yona gains more followers every day. Some demand I release you and let you go home. Others demand I execute you before you bring more of your kind here." Teho felt cold. "And what do you want, High Matriarch?" Lyra sighed. For the first time, she looked tired, old and tired and worried. "I want what is best for my people. But I do not know what that is anymore. We have been alone for so long. Our world is dying slowly, Teho. Our children grow weaker. Our scientists cannot find a solution. And now you fall from the sky. A living example of genetic diversity. And everything becomes more complicated." "Neva told me about your problems," Teho said carefully. "I am sorry. I wish I could help. Can you? Can humans help us? Maybe. I am not a scientist or a diplomat. I am just a pilot. But humans have solved many problems. We have worked with other species before. If you reach out to us, I believe we would try to help." Lyra shook her head. "Reaching out means opening our world. It means change. And change terrifies most of my people." "Change is scary," Teho agreed. "But staying the same while everything gets worse is scarier." Lyra looked at him with something like respect. Then she stood and walked to the door. "Try not to cause more trouble," she said. And then, she was gone. 3 days later, something happened that changed everything. It was afternoon. Teho was allowed outside now, under heavy guard, to walk in a small garden near his building. Neva was with him, pointing out different plants and explaining their uses. Suddenly, they heard screaming. Then a loud crash. Then more screaming. Teho turned and saw smoke rising from a building nearby. A large structure had collapsed, and dust filled the air. People ran in every direction. Guards shouted orders. "What happened?" Neva asked. A woman ran past them, crying. "The roof fell. There are people trapped inside. Children are trapped." Without thinking, Teho started running toward the collapsed building. His guards shouted for him to stop, but he did not listen. Neva ran after him. The scene was chaos. A whole section of the building had fallen in. Stone and metal and glass covered the ground. Women dug through the rubble with their hands, calling out names. "My daughter is in there," one woman screamed. "Please, someone help her." Teho pushed through the crowd. He looked at the rubble and listened. Then he heard it. A small voice crying. Somewhere deep in the broken stones, the Valari women were trying to move the rubble, but they were not strong enough. The stones were too heavy. They needed machines, but machines would take time, and the child might not have time. Teho grabbed a large piece of stone and lifted. His muscles burned. His arms shook, but he lifted it and threw it aside. He grabbed another piece, and another, and another. The guards just watched. Everyone watched. This strange human creature lifting stones that 3 Valari women could not move. His face red with effort. His body covered in sweat and dust. But he did not stop. "Here," Teho called out. "I can hear her here. Help me." Neva and some brave women came forward. Together, they moved more rubble. Teho lifted the heaviest pieces. Slowly, they dug deeper into the collapsed building. Then Teho saw her, a small girl, maybe 5 or 6 years old, trapped under a beam. She was crying but alive. The beam was too heavy for anyone else to lift. Teho got under the beam. He put his shoulder against it and pushed up with all his strength. Every muscle in his body screamed. His vision went white at the edges, but he lifted the beam just enough. "Pull her out," he shouted. "Now." Neva grabbed the child and pulled her free. The moment she was clear, Teho let the beam drop and fell to his knees, gasping for air. The mother ran forward and took her daughter in her arms. She was crying and laughing at the same time. She looked at Teho, with tears running down her face. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Teho could only nod. He was too tired to speak. The crowd around him was silent. They had watched an alien, a creature they feared, risk his life to save one of their children. They did not know what to think. Yona pushed through the crowd. She looked at the scene with hard eyes. Then she looked at Teho, kneeling in the dust, exhausted, and bleeding from small cuts. She said nothing. But something changed in her eyes. Just a small thing. A tiny crack in her wall of hate. An old woman stepped forward. She was ancient, with wrinkled silver skin and cloudy white eyes. She wore the robes of a healer. This was Mira, the elder that Teho had heard about but never met. Mira walked slowly to Teho and looked down at him. Then she turned to the crowd. "Listen to me," she said. Her voice was old but strong. "I have lived for 200 years. I have read books that most of you do not even know exist. And I remember the old prophecy, the one we stopped teaching long ago because it scared us." The crowd went silent. Even Yona listened. Mira continued. "The prophecy says, when the forgotten half returns, Valara will face its greatest change. We forgot what the other half meant. We thought it was a myth. But now the forgotten half is here, kneeling in our dirt, bleeding for our children." She pointed at Teho. "This is the sign. Change is coming whether we want it or not. The only question is whether we face it with open hearts or closed fists." No one spoke. Teho looked up at the old healer and then at the crowd of silver faces watching him. He did not feel like a prophecy. He just felt tired. But maybe that was how prophecies always started. After the rescue, things changed for Teho. He was moved from his small prison room to a real guest chamber. The guards outside his door were reduced from 6 to 2. People no longer looked at him with only fear. Some even smiled when he passed. The mother of the child he saved visited him with gifts of food and flowers. Other women came too, curious now instead of afraid. They wanted to see the human who ran into danger to save a Valari child. They wanted to ask him questions about Earth and humans and the stars, but not everyone was happy about this change. Yona's followers grew angry. They held meetings in secret. They talked about how the human was corrupting their society, how people were forgetting their traditions, how everything was falling apart because of one alien creature. Late one night, 3 of them came for Teho. He was sleeping when his door burst open. 3 women in dark clothes rushed in. One carried a blade that glowed with blue energy. They moved fast and quiet, like trained killers. Taeho woke up and rolled off his bed just as the blade came down. It cut through his pillow, leaving a smoking hole. He kicked at the nearest attacker and hit her in the knee. She fell back with a cry. The second attacker swung at him. Taeho grabbed her arm and twisted. His hours of training on Earth, learning basic fighting to protect himself in rough spaceports, saved his life now. He threw her into the third attacker, and they both crashed to the ground. The door flew open again. Neva stood there with a weapon in her hand, a small energy pistol. Behind her were guards who had heard the noise. "Stop!" Neva shouted. "Do not move!" The attackers froze. They were outnumbered now. The guards rushed in and grabbed them, pulling their hands behind their backs. Taeho stood in the middle of the room, breathing hard. His heart pounded in his chest. That was close. Very close. Neva ran to him. "Are you hurt? Did they cut you?" "I am fine," Taeho said. "Just surprised." Neva's green eyes were full of worry. And something else. Something deeper. "When I heard the noise, I thought, I was so scared that..." She stopped herself, but Taeho understood. "Thank you," he said softly. "You saved my life." "You saved a child's life," Neva replied. "That makes us equal." The attackers were taken away for questioning. It came out quickly that they were part of Yona's faction, though Yona herself denied ordering the attack. The council was forced to act. Several of the most extreme members were arrested. Yona was given a warning, but the assassination attempt had an unexpected effect. It showed everyone how far hate could go. Many who had been unsure about Taeho now stood with him. They did not want to be part of something that killed guests in their sleep. In the days that followed, Taeho and Neva spent even more time together. She showed him her laboratory, where she studied life forms from other planets. She took him to the gardens outside the city, where the glowing flowers bloomed in endless colors. She taught him words in the Valari language, and he taught her words in Korean. One evening, they sat on a hill overlooking the city. The 2 moons hung in the sky, one large and golden, one small and silver. The city below glowed with soft lights. "Tell me about love," Neva said suddenly. Taeho looked at her. "What do you want to know?" "Among the Valari, we have bonds, friendships, family connections between mothers and daughters. But we do not have what you call romantic love. Love between 2 people who choose each other. I have read about it in the files from the human diplomat who visited long ago, but I do not understand it." Taeho thought for a moment. "Love is complicated. It is when you care about someone more than you care about yourself. When seeing them happy makes you happy. When you want to share everything with them, the good and the bad. When being near them makes you feel like home." Neva was quiet. Then she asked, "Have you felt this love?" "Once, a long time ago. It did not work out." "Why?" "Because I was always flying away. I loved being in space more than I loved staying in one place. She wanted someone who would stay. I could not be that person. That is sad." It was, but it was honest. Loving someone means being honest with them, even when it hurts. Neva turned to look at him. The moonlight made her silver skin glow. Her green eyes were soft and deep. "I think I am starting to understand," she said quietly. Taeho felt something in his chest. Something warm and unexpected, but he pushed it down. He was still a stranger here, still an alien. He could not let himself feel things that might complicate everything. The next day, Lyra called Taeho to a private meeting. They sat in a small room, just the 2 of them. The High Matriarch looked older than before, more tired. "I need to tell you something," Lyra said. "Something that very few know." Taeho waited. "Our civilization is dying faster than anyone realizes. In maybe 3 more generations, we will be too weak to survive. Our scientists have tried everything. Nothing works. We need new genetic material. We need diversity. Without it, the Valari will go extinct." Taeho felt the weight of her words. I am sorry. Sorry is not enough. I am asking if humanity can help us. Your people have advanced science. They have found solutions to problems that seemed impossible. If we opened contact with Earth, is there a chance they could help us? I think so, Tejo said honestly. Humans have helped other species before. We have scientists who study exactly these kinds of problems. But I cannot promise anything. I am just a cargo pilot. Lyra smiled sadly. You keep saying that. But a cargo pilot saved a child from death. A cargo pilot survived an assassination. A cargo pilot has done more to change our society in weeks than politicians have done in centuries. I think you are more than just a cargo pilot. Tejo did not know how to respond. I want to open contact with humanity, Lyra continued. But first, we need to reach them. Your ship's communication device is destroyed. Our technology cannot reach across the stars. Is there any way? Tejo thought about his crashed ship. About the damaged antenna. About the backup systems that might still work. Maybe, he said. If I can get back to my ship, I might be able to repair enough of the communication array to send a signal. It would not be strong, but it might reach the nearest human outpost. Then we will help you, Lyra said. Neva will assist you. She knows our technology better than anyone. Perhaps together you can make it work. Tejo nodded. I will try. Lyra reached out and put her hand on his. Her silver skin was cool against his warm human hand. Thank you, Kang Tejo. Whatever happens, thank you for giving us hope. The next morning, Tejo and Neva set out for the crashed ship. They traveled in a small flying vehicle, moving fast over the glowing forests. Tejo watched the world pass below and felt something strange in his chest. It was hope. Real, genuine hope. Maybe he could save these people after all. Maybe his crash had happened for a reason. Or maybe it was just luck. Either way, he was going to try. He looked at Neva sitting beside him, her silver face lit by the morning sun, her green eyes focused on the path ahead. Whatever happened next, he was glad she was with him. The Wanderer looked even worse than Tejo remembered. The broken ship lay in the middle of a clearing, half buried in dirt and broken trees. Its hull was cracked and bent. Smoke no longer rose from it, but the smell of burned metal still hung in the air. Tejo walked around his old ship slowly. He touched the damaged hull with his hand. This ship had been his home for 3 years. He had slept in it, eaten in it, worked in it. Now it was just broken metal. Can it be fixed? Neva asked. The ship? No. It will never fly again. Tejo pointed to the rear section. But the communication array might still have some working parts. The main antenna is destroyed, but there is a backup system deep inside. If we can power it and connect it to your technology, maybe we can send a signal. They worked for days. Neva brought Valari engineers who had never seen human technology before. Tejo showed them how the systems worked. Together, they pulled out wires and circuit boards and power cells. They connected human electronics to Valari devices in ways that had never been tried before. It was slow work. Frustrating work. Many times, nothing happened. Many times, the systems sparked and died. Tejo wanted to give up more than once, but Neva kept him going. She believed in him. She worked beside him through long nights, never complaining, never doubting. Her faith gave him strength. Finally, on the 8th day, the system powered on. The small screen glowed blue. Numbers and letters scrolled across it. The communication array was alive. Weak, but alive. Tejo recorded a message. He spoke slowly and clearly, giving his name, his ship number, his situation. He explained where he was, what had happened, and that he was safe. He asked for rescue and for a diplomatic team to make first contact with the Valari people. Then he pressed the button and sent the signal into the stars. For 3 days, nothing happened. Tejo checked the system every few hours, hoping for a response. Neva stayed with him, waiting. On the fourth day, a light blinked on the console. A message had come back. Taeho's hands shook as he played the recording. A human voice filled the air. It was the commander of the nearest outpost. A station 3 weeks away by fast ship. We received your signal, Wanderer 7. Rescue ship is being prepared. A diplomatic team will accompany them. Hold your position. Help is coming. Repeat. Help is coming. Neva threw her arms around Taeho. He held her tight, and for a moment, neither of them said anything. They just held each other and let the joy wash over them, but the joy did not last. When they returned to the city with the news, everything had changed. The streets were empty. Guards stood at every corner, their weapons drawn. Something was very wrong. A young woman ran up to them. Thank the moons you are back. Yona has taken over the council building. She is holding the High Matriarch prisoner. She says she will not let the humans come. She will kill Lyra if anyone tries to stop her. Taeho felt his blood go cold. When did this happen? This morning. Yona and her followers attacked at dawn. Many guards joined her. She has hundreds of supporters inside the building. Neva's face went pale. Lyra, we have to do something, Taeho said. What can we do? Yona has an army. She has weapons. She will kill anyone who comes close. Taeho thought quickly. He was not a soldier. He was not a hero. He was just a cargo pilot. But he could not stand by while innocent people died. He could not let fear win. Take me to the council building, he said. I want to talk to Yona. The young woman stared at him. She will kill you, maybe, but I have to try. Neva grabbed his arm. Taeho, no. This is not your fight. You have done enough. Wait for the human ships to arrive. Let them handle this. They are 3 weeks away. Lyra does not have 3 weeks. Valara does not have 3 weeks. He looked into Neva's green eyes. I have to try. You know I do. Neva was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded slowly. Then I am coming with you. No. Stay here. Stay safe. I am tired of being safe. She took his hand. We do this together, or not at all. Taeho wanted to argue, but he saw the determination in her eyes. She would not change her mind. Together, he agreed. They approached the council building from the main street. Yona's followers stood at the entrance, weapons ready. They saw Taeho and raised their guns. Stop there, human, one shouted. Come closer and we will shoot. Taeho raised his hands. I want to talk to Yona. Just talk. I am not here to fight. The guards looked at each other. Then one went inside. A few minutes later, Yona herself walked out. She looked different now, harder. Her silver skin seemed darker, and her eyes burned with cold fire. She wore armor and carried a sword at her side. The human wants to talk, she said. How interesting. What could you possibly say to me? I came to ask you to stop this. Taeho said. Release the High Matriarch. End this before more people get hurt. End this. Yona laughed. It was a harsh sound. You think I am doing this for fun? I am doing this to save my people. Your kind will destroy us. Your ships will come with weapons and soldiers. You will take over our world and turn us into slaves. I have read your history. I know what humans do to weaker species. That is not who we are anymore, Taeho said. Yes, humans did terrible things in the past. We conquered and killed and enslaved. But we also changed. We grew. We learned that the universe is too big for hate. The ships coming here are not warships. They are rescue ships. And diplomats. They want to help. Lies. Everything you say is lies. Then why did I save that child? Why did I spend weeks helping your scientists? Why did I not run away when I had the chance? Taeho stepped closer. I could have stayed hidden in the forest. I could have tried to survive alone until help came. Instead, I walked into your city and asked for help. Is that what an invader does? Yona said nothing. You are scared, Taeho continued. I understand. Change is terrifying. The unknown is terrifying, but hiding from the universe will not save your people. Your children are getting weaker. Your species is dying. You know this is true. The only chance you have is to reach out and accept help, even if that means losing who we are. Change does not mean losing who you are. It means growing. The Valari I have met are strong, intelligent, caring people. That will not change just because you work with other species. If anything, it will make you stronger. Yona's hand rested on her sword. Her jaw was tight. Taeho could see the war inside her. Fear fighting against hope. Pride fighting against desperation. My sister died last year, Yona said quietly. She was young, healthy, but her body simply gave up. The doctors said it was genetic weakness, said there was nothing they could do. Tears appeared in her hard eyes. I do not want to watch more sisters die. I do not want to see our children fade away. But I am so scared of what your people might do to us. Taeho lowered his hands. He took another step toward her. The guards tensed, but he ignored them. I cannot promise everything will be perfect, he said. I cannot promise there will be no problems. But I can promise that humans know how to face problems together. We argue. We disagree. Sometimes we even fight, but in the end, we figure it out. Let us figure this out together. Yona looked at him for a long, long moment. Then, slowly, she took her hand off her sword. Together, she repeated. The word sounded strange on her lips. Like a language she had forgotten, she turned to her followers. Stand down. Release the matriarch. It is over. Confused murmurs spread through the crowd. Some looked angry. Some looked relieved. But one by one, they lowered their weapons. Yona turned back to Taeho. Her eyes were still wet. If you are lying to me, she said, I will kill you myself. Taeho nodded. Fair enough. And just like that, the coup was over. 3 weeks later, the sky lit up with fire. Taeho stood on the hill overlooking the city, watching as a human ship broke through the clouds. It was a large vessel, painted white with blue markings. The symbol of the Earth Diplomatic Corps was visible on its side. It moved slowly, carefully, not wanting to frighten the people below. Behind Taeho stood Neva, Lyra, Yona, and hundreds of other Valari who had come to watch. The whole city had emptied out to see this moment. The moment their world changed forever. The ship landed in a field outside the city. Its engines went quiet. For a long minute, nothing happened. Then, a door opened, and humans walked out. There were 10 of them, diplomats in formal clothes, scientists with equipment, medical experts with cases of supplies, and at the front, a woman with gray hair and kind eyes. She was the leader of the delegation. Taeho walked forward to meet them. The woman smiled when she saw him. Kang Taeho, she said. You look good for someone who crashed on an alien planet 2 months ago. Taeho laughed. It has been an interesting 2 months. The woman looked past him at the crowd of silver-skinned people watching from the hill. And these are the Valari? Yes, they are nervous, but they are ready. Change is always hard, but it is also necessary. The woman extended her hand to Taeho. My name is Director Park. I have been sent to begin official relations between Earth and Valara. Thank you for making this possible. Taeho shook her hand. I did not do much. Just crashed in the right place at the right time. Somehow I doubt that is the full story. Taeho brought Director Park and her team to meet Lyra. The High Matriarch stood tall and proud, showing no fear even though her heart must have been racing. She welcomed the humans to Valara with formal words and graceful gestures. Director Park bowed in return. High Matriarch Lyra, on behalf of Earth and the United Human Federation, I thank you for allowing us to visit your world. We come with open hands and hopeful hearts. We seek friendship, cooperation, and mutual growth. Lyra nodded slowly. We are not used to visitors. For thousands of years, we have lived alone. But we have learned that being alone is not always strength. Sometimes it is just fear. We are ready to be afraid no more. The days that followed were busy and complicated. Meetings were held. Treaties were discussed. Scientists from both species worked together, sharing knowledge and ideas. The human medical team examined Valari volunteers and confirmed what everyone feared. Their genetic code was breaking down. Without new diversity, the Valari species would fade away within a few generations. But there was hope. Human geneticists had dealt with similar problems before. They had saved other species from extinction. They believed they could help the Valari too. It would take time. Years. Maybe decades. But it was possible. "We will not change who you are," the lead scientist explained to the council. "We will simply help your bodies become stronger. Your children will still be Valari. They will just be healthier Valari." Some on the council were still worried. Yona was among them. But she no longer shouted or threatened. She asked careful questions. She listened to the answers. She was learning to hope. In exchange for medical help, the Valari shared their own knowledge. Their bioluminescent technology fascinated human scientists. Their healing methods were centuries ahead of Earth medicine. Their art and music and philosophy offered new ways of seeing the universe. "This is what first contact should be," Director Park said to Tejo one evening. Two species helping each other. Learning from each other. Growing together. "It almost did not happen," Tejo replied. "There was a lot of fear on both sides. There always is. But you helped them move past it. You showed them that humans can be trusted. That is no small thing." A formal ceremony was held to celebrate the new friendship between Earth and Valara. It took place in the Great Hall where Tejo had first been brought as a prisoner. Now he stood there as an honored guest. Lyra gave a speech about change and hope and the courage to face the unknown. Director Park spoke about unity and the vast possibilities of the universe. Even Yona said a few words, admitting that she had been wrong and promising to work toward a better future. Then it was Tejo's turn. He did not want to speak. He was just a cargo pilot. But Neva pushed him forward. And the crowd waited. So he had no choice. "I do not have wise words," he began. His voice echoed in the Great Hall. "I am not a diplomat, or a scientist, or a leader. I am just a man who crashed his ship and got lucky." Some people laughed. Tejo smiled. "When I first came here, I was scared. I was alone on a strange world with strange people who looked at me like I was a monster. I thought I would die here." He paused. "But then I met people who were curious instead of afraid. People who wanted to learn instead of hate. People who taught me that being different is not the same as being dangerous." He looked at Neva, standing at the front of the crowd. Her green eyes shone with tears. "Humans have a saying. We say that home is not a place. Home is the people who make you feel like you belong. For 2 months, you have been my home. You gave me food, and shelter, and friendship. You saved my life more than once. You taught me things I will never forget." Tejo took a deep breath. "I came here by accident, but I stay here by choice." The crowd went quiet. Director Park looked surprised. "You are staying?" she asked. Tejo nodded. "If the High Matriarch allows it, I would like to stay on Valara. Not as a prisoner, not as a guest, but as an ambassador. A bridge between our two peoples." Lyra stepped forward. Her golden eyes were warm. "Kang Tejo, you have proven yourself to be a friend of Valara. You saved our children, ended our conflict, and brought us hope for the future. Of course you may stay. You will always have a home here." The crowd erupted in cheers. Valari women clapped and called out his name. Human diplomats smiled and nodded. Even Yona, standing in the back, allowed herself a small smile. Neva pushed through the crowd and ran to Tejo. She threw her arms around him and held him tight. "You are staying," she said, her voice breaking. "You are really staying." "I am staying," Tejo confirmed. "I told you before. Home is the people who make you feel like you belong. You make me feel like I belong, Neva." She pulled back and looked at him. Then, for the first time, she did something that Valari did not normally do. She kissed him. It was soft and quick, and completely unexpected. The crowd went silent with shock. No Valari had ever kissed a human before. It was strange, and new, and slightly scandalous. Then someone laughed. Then someone cheered. Then everyone was cheering. Later that night, Taeho stood alone on his favorite hill, looking up at the stars. The two moons hung overhead, casting silver light on the glowing forest below. Somewhere out there was Earth, his first home, the place he was born, but this was his home now. Valara, a world of silver people, and glowing flowers, and impossible beauty. A world that had feared him, and then accepted him. A world he had helped save. Footsteps approached behind him. Neva came to stand beside him, following his gaze to the stars. "What are you thinking about?" she asked. "I am thinking about how strange life is," Taeho said. 6 months ago, I was just a cargo pilot, flying boxes from one station to another. Now I am an ambassador on an alien world. It does not feel real. It is real. You made it real. Taeho shook his head. "I did not do anything special. I just tried to help." Neva took his hand, her silver fingers intertwined with his brown ones. "That is what makes humans special. You just try to help, even when you are scared, even when it is dangerous, even when it is not your fight. You reach out anyway." She leaned her head against his shoulder. "That is why I love you, Kang Taeho. Because you never stop reaching out." Taeho put his arm around her and held her close. He thought about all the humans on Earth. All the ones who reached out to the stars, searching for something more. All the ones who refused to give up, even when everything seemed impossible. Humanity was not perfect. They made mistakes. They fought and argued and sometimes did terrible things. But they also loved and hoped and dreamed. They built bridges across impossible distances. They made friends in the darkest corners of the universe. That was what made them human. That stubborn, reckless, beautiful insistence on reaching out, even to those who feared them. Taeho looked at the stars one last time. Then he looked at Neva. "Let us go home," he said. And together, hand in hand, they walked back toward the glowing city. Toward the future. Toward whatever came next. The universe was vast and full of wonders. And Kang Taeho, a simple cargo pilot from Earth, had found his place in it. This was not the end of his story. It was just the beginning.